Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. We have quite a few people that are joining, so we're going to give everyone just a couple of minutes and we'll get started. Thank you. For those of you that are just joining, welcome. We'll be getting started here in just another minute. Thank you. All right, let's get started. Welcome everyone to our webinar today on Volta Insurance Solutions and Appulate. We're excited to have you. I will be your presenter today, Vanessa Duier-Kamara, the Director of Customer Development, and I'm joined by Adam Meyerson, the President of Volta Insurance Solutions, whom you'll be hearing from in just a bit. Before we get started, some webinar logistics. Due to the size of the webinar, all attendees are muted and we will not be taking questions during the webinar, but please stick around till the end. We do want to answer your questions and we do want to hear from you. So at the end, we'll have an open Q&A session where you can type in your questions in the GoToMeeting side panel or raise your hand and we can unmute you so that you can ask your question out loud. In the meanwhile, so that you don't forget your questions as you have them, feel free to type them in the GoToMeeting side panel question section and send them as you go, and we'll just get to those at the end. So before we take a deep dive into Volta's outstanding programs powered by Appulate, I'd like to take just a few moments to update you on Appulate. Appulate's network continues to grow rapidly. We now have over 30,000 agencies in network, making Appulate the place where agents, MGAs, and carriers do business digitally. Our commitment to you, the agent, is to empower you by expanding your markets and automating your workflow, saving you time and money. So a little bit more on expanding your markets. For over a decade, agents have been using Appulate to streamline their submission process. And often agents would come to us looking for markets to place a part of their business. It was then that we realized that there was more that we could be doing for our agents. So we decided to be a technology partner to program administrators looking to automate their quoting process and deliver it to a large network of agents. Now, Appulate hosts a real-time rate quote request to bind experience for several markets, including Volta, meaning that you can get a quote in just minutes. So how exactly do we automate the submission process? Well, it all starts with Uplink, which eliminates the need to rekey data. It bridges ACORD data from any agency management system or ACORD PDF and populates other forms, carrier portals, and program administrators' smart questionnaires, which lie in Appulate. It also eliminates the need for your markets to rekey information, making it a win-win for all parties involved. Appulate is brought to you, the agent, at zero cost, as the carriers and MGAs, program admins, cover the cost so that you can do more business with them in an easier way. Now, not only is it free to use, but it can save you time and money too. So based on a recent survey we conducted on retail agents, agents are averaging about 40 submissions per month, and agents are saving about 37 minutes per submission with Appulate. This translates to an average of close to 1,500 minutes or over 24 hours saved per month with Appulate, and this can be translated into dollars as well. So in dollars, that's $593 per agency per month, or over $7,000 per year per agent. Now, without further ado, I want to announce our partnership with Volta Insurance Solutions, which currently has its rate quote request to bind platform in Appulate. Again, it is free to use and it can produce an instant quote for you. This is the fastest way to get an excess liability quote. And in just a few minutes, we'll take you through a demo. But first, I'd like to hand this over to Adam to tell you a bit more about Volta. Adam?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time today out of your busy schedules to sit with us and learn a little bit about Volta Insurance Solutions. Our mission at Volta, as it shows on the screen here, we're a wholesale commercial insurance brokerage and an automated policy issuance platform powered by Appulate. Utilizing proprietary technology, Volta enables its appointed retail insurance producers to rate, quote, bind, and issue small commercial insurance policies all in real time. With a key emphasis on technology, our automated rate-to-issue platform dramatically increases the efficiency of this process, as well as provides access to new and competitive insurance products to our appointed producers. So right off the bat, our specialty is going to consist of standard commercial lines of insurance. For example, excess liability, work comp, general liability, property package, various emerging lines, as well as excess and surplus lines. The types of carriers that we will be bringing on board are going to generally be admitted carriers, some excess and surplus lines carriers, AM Best rated A or better. Hopefully all will be with competitive rates, or at least competitive enough for you guys to want to sell it. And then obviously quality products and a broad acceptance with respect to the risks that they will accept. Our first product is going to be excess liability. And that is going to be offered through Topa Insurance Company. Topa Insurance Company is an AM Best rated A- carrier. The first states that we will be releasing this product in are California, with additional states to follow. Some of the examples of the industries and class codes that we are looking to service are retail, warehousing, real estate, habitational, manufacturing, processing, healthcare, institutions, rental, wholesale, restaurants. The coverages that we will be offering are $1 and $2 million limits, all minimum premium. And we will also be offering a commission of 17.5% on this line of business. For future lines of business, the commission will be different, but for this line of business, we will be offering a commission of 17.5%. Our next products are going to come up with Employers Insurance Company for work comp. That's going to be in the summer of 2018. General liability will follow up from Topa Insurance Company also sometime this summer, followed up again with package, also with Topa Insurance Company in the fall, and business owners are going to be with actually two different companies, Topa Insurance being one of them, and another company which we're working with right now in the fall of 2018. So we've got a lot of products coming up and some other ones that are not listed here that we've recently began discussions with. So what do we provide? Using Appulate, our front-end technology platform is comprised of automated data entry, real-time quoting, instant bind requests, and same-day turnaround for issued policies. No more having to wait for a quote, no more having to wait for that policy to be returned from the carrier. Everything with us is going to be done same day, virtually instantaneously. The producer no longer needs to spend their resources also in developing your own platforms for additional automation. When you become an appointed producer with Volta, all of the automation that we provide is free to you. So as I had stated, our first line of business is excess liability through Topa Insurance Company, and we will be adding other lines of business, including work comp, general liability, package, BOP, EQ, and emerging lines potentially like cannabis insurance, also specialty and niche product lines, all on Appulate's platform. So at Volta, since we're automating most of these manual processes, that increases the overall efficiency and lowers overhead. This lower operating cost gives us the flexibility to offer higher than average commission percentage than most other wholesalers, putting more money in your pocket. Now hold on. On this screen, it does say an average 12% commission on all products. That is what we plan to offer on all of our products. However, just so that we're clear, on excess liability, this product we'll be offering 17.5%. So in a nutshell, Volta offers a simplified user interface powered by Appulate. There's no haggling over guidelines or how long it takes to get a quote because it's instantaneous. Since everything is automated, there's no one to call if you don't receive a quote. It either quotes it or it does not. And if you get a quote, that's the rate and it can be bound. That rate is not going to change. You have same-day turnaround on all policies and, as I'd already stated, which you can also see, more commission. Not only do we provide the access to the competitive insurance products, our technology provides automated front-end underwriting, instantaneous quoting capability, and bind requests all at the click of a mouse. No underwriters to call or talk to or wait for. We remove the roadblocks and unnecessary points of contact for a seamless, streamlined approach. Smart, efficient, and automated. So Vanessa, I think we were going to pop it back over to you so we can give a demonstration of what we have in store for them.
Yes, thanks, Adam. I'm excited to show this to you. I'll do exactly that. I'm going to show you a live demonstration of how this works. I'm going to pull up my Accord form here that I have filled out and ready to go, and this is where we'll start. So you may have an Accord form filled out on a PDF as I have it here, or you may have it in your agency management system. Wherever you have it, that's where you'll start. If you don't have your filled out Accord form, I'll show you later how you can just start directly in Appulate. All right, so we are going to Appulate it. In other words, we're going to print our completed Accord form to the Appulate uplink printer option. This is going to keep us from having to rekey any of this information when submitting to Volta. So Appulate uplink is something that you have to have installed on your desktop. It takes less than a minute, and we'll go over that later during setup. So you'll choose the Appulate uplink printer option, click print, and here it will ask you to confirm your Appulate credentials, which you just have to have plugged in once, and then it's going to store for you. So at this point, it's just confirmation. You'll click send. Then it will open Appulate for you automatically. It will create the insured, create the line of business, and of course, bridge over all of the data that you've already plugged directly into the Accord form so that you don't have to rekey it here in Volta's portal, or what we call their smart questionnaire. So here we are in Appulate. Here's the insured that it created, Victory Electric. Here's the line of business, excess liability. Here's, it took us to the Q&A section, as you can see, where Volta is listed. To the right is a letter indication that's going to help guide you through the submission process. It's letting you know what additional questions you have to answer in order to produce an automatic quote. You can see that your status is not submitted yet. And further to the right, you can see the submit button, which currently has an X in front of it, and you're not able to click on it until you fulfill the requirements. Directly below is what we call our smart questionnaire. You can see that there's three main tabs. This number is indicating how many questions you have left to answer in each section before submitting. Now, we call this a smart questionnaire because based on how you answer certain questions, more questions may appear and questions may be eliminated, and this is all affecting the number of questions and the letter indication in real time. So I'm going to go ahead and start to answer these questions here.
One of the things that I wanted to draw your attention to is I've received a lot of phone calls already from people about, do you accept this line of or this industry or this class code or a company that does this particular type of service? Rather than calling, one of the things that you could do is you could simply type in the class code where it says GL class code in this case. And if you enter that in and it still shows you an orange A at the very top, that means you're golden. That means it is a class code that we accept. If it shows you a D, that means it is something we do not accept. And since we don't have any underwriters to haggle with, that's it. With us, you either get a quote or you don't. The other thing, too, is she filled out these 6 or 7 questions here, and that is all the information you needed in order to get the actual premium itself. So you see it up there at the very top. So when she answered the very last question, it gave you that premium. And provided that none of the other information on this page changes, if none of it changes, this will be your rate. It will not change, since everything that we do is for excess liability is minimum premium. It will not change unless you change the coverages. So provided that you move through the underwriting questions all in a manner in which it is acceptable to Volta, we will bind this policy at that premium.
Okay, great. So we'll keep moving through. There are a few additional questions that we have to answer. I can click the continue button to move on to the next section, or these are live links. So if you click on them, it will take you directly to where that question is in the SMART questionnaire, and you can plug it in. You can see that those required questions do have a red asterisk next to them. So I'll continue on with this.
And all of these questions are designed to be what are called knockout questions. So if you answered a question that in a manner in which that wasn't acceptable to Volta, it'll automatically give you a D at the very top and tell you that this quote is unacceptable. But if you answer them all in the correct fashion, it will give you an A and then let you know that it is acceptable and you can move forward.
So at this point, I've answered all of the additional missing and required questions. I no longer have a red number appearing in any of my main subject tabs up here. I have a green A for accepted, which means that I can go ahead and submit. You can see that the submit button under action is now clickable. So I fulfill the requirements and now I can submit. So I'll do so. I'll click on this little arrow here under action, and you're going to see here that I've received an instant quote. So you can see that the status changed to say quote prepared, and now I have an instant quote proposal that I can click on and review. It opens it up in a PDF. Take a look at this. You can extract it if you want to pull it outside of Appulate. If you want to share it with your insured, you can actually do that right in Appulate by clicking on this email icon or this little envelope icon here on the right-hand side. It will allow you to send an email to your insured with the proposal already attached. You can edit the signature. You just have to type in your insured's email and click on the send button. So you can send that over for their review. Now, if you would like to continue on, there will be additional questions here that are required in order to request to bind, and I'll let Adam explain what those are here.
So as part of our underwriting criteria, you do need to enter in the date of business establishment, and it needs to go back at least 5 years. So in order to physically bind this policy, and I would assume that if you got to this point, the insured has said to you, you know what, I want this policy, let's go for it. So I'm assuming that he's going to be ready to give you this additional information. So you'll enter in the date of business establishment, which needs to go back at least 5 years, and then you'll need to enter in their GL insurance history or their underlying insurance history, and then you'll also need to provide loss runs going back at least 5 years as well. So as long as you provide that information, you'll then be able to submit all of that in one signed, sealed, delivered packet directly to us, and then we'll be able to get it off for binding, and you should have a policy bound and at your doorstep inside of 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, great. So as Adam mentioned, you'll just go through this and answer the additional missing and required questions, and then click on the request to bind button. To speed things along for our demo today, I've gone ahead and answered those questions already. So I'm just going to jump ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the request to bind button so you don't have to sit there and watch me type out the information on the screen here. So once I click on this request to bind button, it's saying that I'm not appointed. So if you are not yet appointed, it's going to take you through an automated appointment process. It's pretty slick. I'll show you how that works in just a second. If you are already appointed with Volta, it's smart enough to know that, so it will bypass this altogether and move you forward with a request to bind. So in other words, start submitting to Volta and you can deal with the appointment process later at the bind. So we'll go ahead and click on Get Appointed here. And it's going to take us to a screen where it says the status, not appointed yet. It's going to tell you what Volta needs in order to have an appointment with them. You can start by signing the appointment agreement. It's done with electronic signature. I've already taken care of that. And then it's going to ask you to upload these additional documents, which I've already taken care of. So you can drag and drop the files from your computer, or you can click on Select to browse your documents and attach those. Now, a little bit more on number 5. Adam, go ahead.
Now, number 5, that is the trust account form. So all of the transactions financially that we do are done via the trust account. This is the most efficient way for us to process your business, to get you your commission, so you don't have to wait for checks and you don't have to wait for anything. Everything with us, we like to maintain a certain level of automation, this being one of them. So in order to get appointed, you will need to enter in or provide us with this document. All you need to do is click on this link. It should open up the document directly. Then you can fill out the document and attach it and then get it to us. No different than you would with any other carrier.
Great. So at this point, once you've signed the agreement and attached all of the appropriate documents, then you can click on Request Appointment. And the appointment request has been sent. You can see that your status changed to say pending request. Adam and his team get notified. They'll review, make sure that they have everything that they need, and then they will appoint you. And when they appoint you, you will receive email notification letting you know, and it will also contain a link so that you can go back to the insured file and now continue on with the request to bind process. Or if you're in Appulate, you can go through here and navigate to that insured file. So the very first page that you get logged into in Appulate is insured, all insured. Now we're going to go back into the insured file that we were working on. And then at this point, you can click on Request to Bind and follow the additional binding steps. Very simple to follow along. Now we'll keep this going here as far as the demo goes. I do want to show you how you can start an Appulate for those of you that do not have Accord forms. But if you have any questions on any part of this process, from uplink to fulfilling the requirements to getting an appointment or requesting to bind, Adam and his team are happy to walk you through any part of that. So a little later on, we'll open it up for questions, and I'm going to pop up Adam's information on our screen so that you can jot down his contact information. And of course, feel free to reach out to him if you need help walking through any of this. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. So for those of you that do not have an Accord form to start off with, you either don't have it filled out or you simply don't have access to Accord forms, Appulate is still for you. You can go to Insured, All Insured, which is the very first page that you get logged into in Appulate. And you can click on Add New Customer or Prospect and type in the customer or the insured that you're working on. Type in all of the information on here.
If I can interrupt, it's kind of interesting. I've spoken with a couple of agents now, and some agents, while they're creating the applications directly in their agency management system and then uploading them into Appulate, I've already spoken with a couple of other agents who actually like doing it this way, just because the user interface that Appulate has created is so simple, and because it creates the Accord forms as you are entering in the data. So either way is extremely simple for you to get that information in the system.
Absolutely. So on this screen, just simply type in the information that it's asking you for the insured file and then click Continue. On the next page, it's going to ask you for the line of business. You can choose that from the drop-down menu, the effective and expiration date, and then click Continue. And then you're right back to where we were earlier. So the process from here remains the same. You'll answer all of the questions that are missing and required in Volta's Smart Questionnaire. Now, as an added bonus, it's producing an Accord form for you in the background. So as Adam mentioned, some agents just want to start here because it's going to produce an Accord form for you anyway, and this is just sort of a simpler format. So as you start to type in the information in Volta's Smart Questionnaire, at any point in time, you can jump over to our Forms tab, and you'll see an Accord 131 that you can click on and review. All of the information that you plug into Appulate will be plugged in here. Not that you need to extract this to submit to Volta, but it's there as an added bonus, and you can extract it from Appulate at any time. Okay, so from here, the process remains the same. You'll answer the missing and required questions. You'll click on the Submit button. If it's acceptable, you will get an instant quote that you can open up and review, share with your insured. You can request to bind. If you're not yet appointed, it will take you through the appointment process. Then you can continue on with the request to bind. Once it is bound, you will receive email notification, and you will see the status changed accordingly. All right, so now that you've seen how easy it is to use Appulate to submit to Volta, I want to go over setup so that you can start using it today. I want to direct you to voltainsurance.com. If you go to voltainsurance.com, there is a producer login button. This will take you to the login of Appulate.com. So you can go to Appulate.com or you can go to voltainsurance.com Either way, it's going to take you to the Appulate login page. Everyone that was invited to the webinar already has an Appulate account. If you do not know what your credentials are, you can simply click on this Forgot Password button on the sign-in page. It'll ask you for your email address, and then you can create a new password of your choosing. So go ahead and sign in here using your Appulate credentials. I do want to mention that for those of you that are already using Appulate, we did not create a separate account for you to use Volta. Each agency has just one Appulate account, and from that one Appulate account, you can access all of your markets that you've chosen to work with in Appulate. In order to do that, make sure that you're not logged into volta.appulate.com or any other company-specific prefix. You want to make sure that you're logged into appulate.com. And this will free it up so that you can, again, use Appulate to submit to all of your markets. In other words, under Markets and Selected, you should see all of the markets that you've chosen to work within Appulate as long as you're logged into appulate.com. If you do not see Volta or one of your markets, you can add it under the Available tab. Simply go to Markets and Available and type in Volta or whatever market it is that you're looking for. Click the plus sign on the right-hand side, and it will add it to the Selected tab. Again, everyone that was invited to the webinar should already see Volta listed as one of the markets that you can do business with in Appulate. Now, once you're logged in here, go ahead and download Uplink if you haven't already done that. That's under Tools and Appulate Uplink. It works with any agency management system to bridge over the Accord data or even Accord PDFs to bridge over the Accord data so that you don't have to rekey it when submitting to Volta. So all you have to do to download it here is choose your management system from the drop-down menu. If you don't see it listed, you can choose Other. And then click on the link to install. It takes less than a minute to install on your desktop. And it installs as a print driver. So if you're not sure if you have it yet or not, just go to Print Any document. And if you see the Appulate Uplink listed as one of your printer options, you know, along with your home or your office printer, for example, then you know that you have it installed successfully. Now, if you want to add users to your account, you can do that very easily by going to Setup and Users, click on Add New, and add as many users as you'd like. You can also edit user information and deactivate users. So it's absolutely free. Make sure that everybody in your agency that plans on using it has their own credentials to log in. All right, so I want to go back to my slides here, and as I promised, I'm going to pull up Adam's contact information and have that open here on my screen. Please feel free to jot that down, and if you have any questions after the webinar on anything that we've gone over about Volta, about Appulate, about how this all works, feel free to reach out to Adam and his team for more information or for assistance. Now I'd like to open it up for any questions. So if you have any questions, I'd like to remind you that you can type them in the GoToMeeting side panel in the questions section. I can go ahead and read those questions out loud, or feel free to raise your hand and I can actually unmute you so that you can ask your question out loud to the group. So the first question here is, so the client needs to have 5 years of prior GL coverage to be acceptable. Adam?
That is correct. They need to show at least 5 years of GL coverage and 5 years of loss runs.
Great question. Let's give everybody a moment to see if there are any other questions.
And there's no such thing as a bad question. If you don't know and you don't ask, then you'll never know. So please, any question at all.
Last call for any questions. Okay, then we're done for today. On behalf of the entire Appulate team, I'd like to thank you all for your time. I hope that this was helpful and informative, and we hope to see you on future webinars. Adam?
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We do appreciate you coming today. And if you have any questions at all, write down my cell phone number that's on there, my email, the Volta email address that's on there as well. Send us any questions, or if you have need any help getting appointed or uploading a policy, be more than happy to help you out in any way that we can.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.